If your bike is making weird noises, wearing out parts too fast, or just feels slower than it should, you might be making some simple maintenance mistakes that are quietly costing you money. Today I'm going to show you 11 common bicycle maintenance mistakes that riders make all the time, and how to avoid them so that your bike lasts longer, rides better, and saves you cash. Let's get into it. If you've taken your bike to a shop and walked out with a repair bill that made you say, wait, how much? There's a good chance it started with one of the 11 maintenance mistakes we'll be looking at today. Some of them slowly destroy your drivetrain, some of them ruin your wheels, and one of them can turn a $15 part into a $300 repair, if you ignore it long enough. The scary part? Most riders, me included, make at least 3 or 4 of these without realizing it. So let's start with one of the most common mistakes. Number 1, not using lube. Your chain needs lubrication, period. Without it, your drivetrain basically becomes a metal grinding machine. When a chain runs dry, every pedal stroke creates friction between the chain, the cassette, and the chain rings. That friction slowly wears down the metal, and the thing most riders don't realize is that chains wear out faster than people think. A neglected chain can stretch and wear out in 1,500 to 2,000 kilometers. But a properly maintained chain can last 2 or 3 times longer. Here's why that matters. When a chain stretches, it starts wearing down the cassette teeth to match that stretched drivetrain. So by the time you finally replace the chain, suddenly the bike gears skip, and now you don't just need a new chain, you need a new cassette and maybe even new chain rings. So what could have been a $30 chain replacement becomes a $200 to $300 drivetrain replacement. And that's if you're lucky. All because of a few drops of lube. Okay, number 2, using weird stuff as lube. So once I realized, and most riders realize that a bike needs lubrication, sometimes they grab whatever is nearby. And I've seen some interesting choices. Cooking oil, sticks of butter, motor oil, household lubricants, and the classic WD-40. Now, WD-40 is actually a cleaner and water displacer, not a proper chain lubricant. It might make your chain quiet temporarily, but it doesn't provide long-lasting lubrication. Cooking oils are even worse. Not only do they attract dirt like crazy and break down quickly, they also get rancid and make your bike stink. What you really want is a bike-specific chain lube. And there are 2 main types. Wet lube, better for rainy or muddy conditions, or dry lube, better for dusty or dry environments. Both are designed to reduce friction without turning your drivetrain into a dirt magnet. And that leads directly into the next mistake, using too much lube. A lot of riders finally buy a good chain lube and then accidentally make the next mistake. They use way too much lube. Your chain doesn't need to be dripping in oil. If it looks like it just came out of a deep fryer, that's a problem. Excess lube collects dust, sand, and road grime, and once that happens, you've basically created grinding paste. So instead of reducing wear, the lube starts to accelerate wear. The correct method is simple, and I'm going to demonstrate it using one of my favorite dry lubes, Finish Line Dry Bike Lubricant. Here's how you'll want to apply your lube. Put 1 drop of lube on each chain link, then spin the pedals for about 20 to 30 seconds so the lube works into the rollers. To finish off, grab a rag, wipe the outside of the chain. Because the lube belongs inside the chain, not coating the outside. There you have it. Let's move on to maintenance mistake number 4. Never cleaning your bike. Let's talk about dirt, because dirt is one of the biggest enemies of bike components. When you ride, your drivetrain picks up dust, road grit, sand, and moisture. All of that gets pulled through the chain and cassette every time you pedal. And over time, that grit slowly grinds away the metal. Think of it like liquid sandpaper. A dirty drivetrain can wear out 2 or 3 times faster than a clean one. Now, this doesn't mean you need to deep clean your bike after every ride, but small habits make a big difference. For example, after a muddy ride, rinse the bike. Every few rides, wipe down the chain. Occasionally clean the cassette and derailleur. Even a 5-minute cleaning routine can dramatically extend the life of expensive components. But there's one cleaning method you should definitely avoid. Number 5, pressure washing your bike. Now, pressure washers are amazing for cleaning driveways, but they are terrible for bicycles. And here's why. Modern bikes have several important bearings in the wheel hubs, in the bottom bracket, in the headset, and suspension pivots. These parts rely on grease to stay smooth and protected. High pressure water can force its way past the seals and wash that grease out. Car washes are even worse because the water's hot. Once that happens, the water and dirt get inside the bearings, and suddenly you start hearing grinding sounds. What felt like a smooth bike yesterday now feels rough and slow, even though it's beautifully clean on the outside. So instead of pressure washing your bike, you should use a bucket of water, mild soap, a sponge or soft brush. That's it. It's gentler on your components and just as effective. Now, if your bike feels slow, even when you're pedaling hard, you might be making this next expensive mistake. Number 6, not enough tire pressure. This is one of the simplest things to fix, but a lot of riders forget about it. Low tire pressure causes several problems. First, it makes riding harder. Underinflated tires deform when they hit the ground, which increases rolling resistance. And that means you're burning more energy just to maintain speed. But second, low pressure increases the chance of pinch flats. That happens when the tire compresses so much, the tube gets pinched between the rim and the ground. And third, low tire pressure can cause premature tire wear. Luckily, the fix is easy. Every tire has a recommended tire pressure range printed on the sidewall. Sometimes you have to look hard. They keep it secret. But checking your tire pressure before rides takes about 20 seconds, and this can save a lot of flats and frustrations. Now, our next mistake is more like a collection of mistakes that fall under the heading, anything with a spoke wrench. Wheel truing is one of those things that looks so interesting and easy online. You see somebody turn a spoke wrench a few times and suddenly the wheel is perfectly straight. But what you don't see is the experience behind it. Spokes are all connected in a system of tension, and tightening one spoke affects all the others. If you randomly tighten spokes without understanding that system, you can quickly turn a slightly wobbly wheel into a major mess. Suddenly the rim pulls sideways or the wheel turns egg-shaped. Then you try to fix that. Then another section moves. Before long, the wheel looks like a potato chip. Now, minor truing adjustments are fine to learn over time, but aggressive spoke adjustments without experience can actually damage rims or break spokes. Sometimes letting a shop do a quick wheel true is by far the cheaper option. Number 8, over-tightening bolts. This mistake comes from good intentions. People think tighter bolts mean safer bikes, but that's not always true. Modern bikes use lightweight materials like aluminum and carbon fiber. These materials are strong, but they don't like excessive force. Over-tightening bolts can strip threads, crack components, damage carbon parts, and that's why manufacturers list torque specifications for many bolts. These are measured in Newton meters. Using a torque wrench ensures you're applying exactly the right amount of force. Too loose is bad, but too tight can be much worse. So this is a very simple park tool torque wrench. Some of them are adjustable. This one is not. This one is set to 6 Newton meters and 6 Newton meters only, which means if the bolt is set to 4 Newton meters, pick the one that has a 4 on it. And you're only going to use it for tightening. Never use a torque wrench for loosening, only tightening. These tools are great. They're going to save you from unnecessary hassle and make sure that you're loving your bike rides safely. Let's talk about number 9, using the wrong tools. This is another mistake that usually starts with improvisation. I've been there. You're trying to fix something quickly. You grab whatever tool is nearby, and sometimes it's a flathead screwdriver. Maybe it's a set of pliers, and maybe it's something that kind of works. But bike-specific fasteners and components require bike-specific tools. For example, trying to remove a tire with a screwdriver often leads to scratched rims, pinched tubes, and broken tire beads. A simple set of plastic tire levers makes the job much easier and safer. The same goes for hex keys, chain tools, cassette tools. The right tool doesn't just make the job easier, it also prevents expensive damage. Number 10, waiting too long to replace brake pads. So brake pads are one of the least expensive parts on a bike, but ignoring them can lead to several expensive problems. So as brake pads wear down, the braking material gets thinner and thinner. Eventually, if you wait too long, the metal backing plate starts contacting the rim or the rotor. And once this metal hits metal, things get ugly fast. For rim brakes, you can destroy the entire wheel rim. For disc brakes, you can ruin the rotor or the entire brake assembly. Now, replacing your pads early might cost $10 to $30. Replacing rotors or wheels costs a lot more. So check your pads occasionally. It's a simple habit that saves you money. Number 11, ignoring the noises. Bikes are actually pretty good at telling you when something is wrong. Trouble is, they just don't speak English. Instead, they speak in clicks, creaks, squeaks, and grinding noises. So these sounds are often early warning signs. A creak might mean a loose bolt. A clicking chain might mean it needs lubrication. Grinding might mean there's a bearing issue. Sometimes it really isn't anything serious. But ignoring strange noises for weeks or months is how small issues turn into big mechanical failures. When your bike suddenly starts sounding different, or feeling different, it's worth taking a few minutes to investigate, because catching problems early is almost always cheaper. So there you have it, 11 of the most common maintenance mistakes we see bike owners making. By now, you should know that most expensive bike repairs don't happen suddenly. They happen slowly because of small maintenance mistakes. But the good news is that most of these problems are easy to avoid. Keep your bike clean, use proper chain lube, check your tire pressure, and don't ignore strange noises. If you do those few things consistently, your bike will ride smoother, last longer, and cost you a lot less money over time. If all of this talk about bike maintenance has you feeling overwhelmed, talk to a bike maintenance professional at your local bike shop. A trusted, experienced technician can help you save money and avoid costly maintenance mistakes, so you can get back to loving your bike. I'm Coach Rob from Olympia Cycle and Ski on Portage Avenue in Winnipeg, and if you found this video helpful, hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments, what's the worst bike maintenance mistake you've ever made?